It's happening YouTube. It is a rare Tuesday night edition of the Life Gains Show. And tonight I wanted to come back to just kind of talk to you all about your financial wellness, making those life gains in your finances, give you a little update on what's going on in the markets, what's going on with cryptocurrency, and see if I can drop a little bit of wisdom and inspiration for those of you that want to take advantage of American capitalism. Maybe you're tired of your jobs that you've been working. Maybe you don't want to go back to work. You've been getting unemployment and all the benefits that come with the stimulus package. And you've said to yourself, man, to hell with this work. I want my money to make money for me. And those are some of the things we're going to cover in tonight's episode of Life Gains. What's going on with stocks? Let me bring in my special guest, my brother, the living legend, Larry. How you doing, my brother?
Hanging in there, man. How are you doing?
I'm hanging tough, man. Out here trying to help people get these life gains on our unpopular videos, but our most impactful videos.
You gotta do some of that. Sometimes you have to give the vegetables too. Everyone loves the meat, but sometimes you have to eat your veggies.
Right. And you know what? In the industry, they call this type of thing a lost leader. But you know what, Larry? I can't put that label on these videos because even though they don't get a lot of views, the views that they got over the last year, Larry, have been quality. We've helped some people change their life. We've helped one guy is fully doing stocks, making a living, selling puts. Right. I had another one who has run into a whole lot of money. I told him how to chop it up. He didn't need the money, Larry. He said he don't need the money. He just wanted to grow, pass some things down. I showed him how to chop it up into some high growth dividend stocks that also grow the stock as well. And brother has made 3 times his money, Larry, literally since January. Nice. Since January. I mean, and he hasn't done nothing. He just diversified what he had, went from there. And I've got some other people that have done one-on-ones with me that have been doing calls, and calls have beat people up. And that's why I always tell people the secret sauce to the stock market is selling puts and you getting on the wheel method, because you then become the Vegas house. When you're buying calls, you are the person sitting at the Vegas poker table. You can win, you can make some money, but the real spice of life is when you sell puts. And so tonight, Larry, I just wanted to talk to the people about a good reopening stock that they should be looking at for the next 6 months, because, man, we're almost at the end of June. Can you believe it, Larry? We're almost at the end.
That's crazy. That is crazy. We are full blown, like, in the midst of summer.
Right. And when you're investing, I'll tell people to break the year up into quarters like businesses do. And then even beyond that, take a look and break it up into 2 halves of the year. So a fiscal budget for a business and municipalities starts on July. That's the fiscal year start for those businesses. And I'm telling people, look at your stocks like that. Take a look at the first half of the year. Then when June gets here, think about what's going to happen the second half of the year. So having said that, Larry, Bitcoin has been tanking ever since I jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I saw they were down today, down to like 28,000 or something like that. And, I was watching CNBC earlier, and there was some of those guys that were on there, and they were being asked, are you going to get on with Bitcoin? And some of them were saying, yeah, I'm going to get back in when it dips down into the 20s. And so I think what's going to happen is I think some of these big investors, some of the institutions probably bought in. And then it rode up, and then they took profits, and it started to drop. And I think we're going to start to see that swing back up. If people are thinking, well, it's down in the 20s, I'm going to get back in.
Oh, Larry, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the reason why it went down in the first place. The biggest reason why it went down, and then we'll chop it up about what's going to be the next moves after this, because China has been making a stink about crypto. So let's take a quick look.
So we had China right, really be much more forceful in their idea to ban cryptocurrency. That's created a retail deleveraging, a run on the bank, if you would, with retail accounts, right? A lot of crypto happens in Asia. A lot is Chinese focused. And so we're seeing big liquidations. It's always hard to call a bottom. 30,000, we'll see if it holds on the day. We might plunge below it for a while and close above it. If it's really breached, 25,000 is the next big level of support. So I think we're going to see really a shift away from Asia to more to the developed world. Xi is about authoritarianism, and it seems every month he wants more control over his country. Bitcoin's about freedom. And so, people say, well, can it happen in America? Can it happen in Europe? The answer really is no. We vote for our politicians, right? Our politicians would be very, very leery, I think, to try to do something like China did. Chinese always want to hedge against an authoritarian regime. They don't want all their money in China. And crypto is freedom. And so I think you'll see the Chinese find plenty of ways to own Bitcoin.
So, ladies and gentlemen, one reason why me and Larry always caution people against crypto, only put money in it that you feel like you can lose, is simply because of how volatile the stock is. In 4 weeks, Larry, the stock has gone from 42,000 to 28,000, and it seems like the resistance line or the demarcation line for the stock is about 35,000. So we've gone through a period where Elon would run his fat lip and the stock would go through the moon. Then Elon would run his fat lip, the stock drops, and now the stock is dropping because China is trying to ban it. So let me say this. As they said in the video, China has been trying to ban it for years, and they can't get rid of it. They cannot get rid of it because you can ban it in a country, but all the countries around China are still investing in it. And I think what got President Xi so mad, Larry, did you notice how all the major financial banks in China was hedging their bets, not on commodities, not on your golds, your silvers, your platinum. Larry, they was hedging their bets on cryptocurrency. They was allowing people to go into many different stores, put your card in, exchange crypto for their Chinese yen. And that was popping up all over the place. And the issue Yen has is he can't control the type of spending that goes on in cryptocurrency because you can put that thing in the ether and you can have it disappear on the blockchain. And so having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting to move more toward the three bigs in cryptocurrency being legitimate. And let me tell you why. We seen early this year, major institutional investors blowing money left and right. I'm talking about blowing money the way my nephew blew $60 in ones in the strip club in 3 minutes as soon as he hit the door. Buying up crypto, my people, because gold has not been rising the way it has been. Everybody's worried about inflation. And we have inflation right now because we've got a lot of demand for goods and services, but we don't have a lot of workers. And so when you have inflation in that manner, people want to hedge their bets against a weak dollar. And the normal way you would do that has been maybe you own real estate, silver and gold, but institutional investors started putting money in cryptocurrency. That made it legitimate. Then we start seeing other industries starting to allow the acceptance of cryptocurrency. And so I'm telling you, I'm still not ready to say, look, bet your house on it. No, don't do that. But I am willing to say you can pinch off 5% or less of whatever you have to invest in the big three: Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. That's it. Those are the only ones I know that places outside the United States, you can walk in there with your Bitcoin card, punch it in, and they'll take the money off your card. Having
Hmm.
said those things, Larry, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin now? Let me shout out everybody in the building: Infinite Science, Savage, Will World, Tim Windsor, Zaya Latrice hit me with a super chat. I'm so grateful that people super chat these videos that are about financial education, in educating and empowering our people, and just generally giving people knowledge so they can make life gains. Floor is yours, my brother. Talk about this crypto.
I think whether or not you invest in cryptocurrencies really it really depends on what your motivations are behind it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that are putting their money in crypto because they want to use it as sort of a safeguard, a way to store money safely outside of their government's currency. And I understand for people like that, you know, crypto is really, really useful because, for instance, like, I don't know, has anybody still seen, you know, the founder and CEO of what's that big Chinese company, the dude that disappeared just recently?
Jack Ma. Jack Ma.
Jack Ma.
Yeah.
You know,
he's
I mean,
the
that dude
founder
got
of Alibaba.
Yeah, Alibaba, he got in trouble by saying some stuff about the Communist Party, and they just disappeared him, and we haven't seen him in almost a year. And this dude was a multi-billionaire. He was one of the richest people in the world, and the Chinese government just disappeared him. And so for people like him and his family, if he wants to make sure his family is always taken care of and they always have wealth, he can throw a couple $1 billion in Bitcoin and have it stored on the blockchain somewhere where the Chinese government can't access it. And then all his family has to do is get out of the country. And then they can access those funds, and they can live their life wherever, you know. And that is one reason why cryptos are so dangerous to governments, because they don't have control like they do. You know, with the US government, if the US government says, you know what, we're putting sanctions on Iran, we're putting sanctions on Russia, and no country can do business with them that does business with the US. Well, what happens if these countries just say, we're going to do business with them, we're just going to get paid in Bitcoin on the blockchain? What are you going to do? You can't track it. The way that the US government and other governments track it is through bank account transactions. If this company's sending $500 million of oil to Russia for oil, and they get it back, what are you going to do if you can't track that money because it's now being paid over Bitcoin? That's a real threat to governments and just basically it's just a threat because it erodes their power base. But as far as storing currency, the reasons to buy Bitcoin, if you're buying it as an investment tool and you're really risky, go for it. I am still very much of the mindset that if you want to store currency and you are in a country where you're not at risk of just being locked up or disappeared, I still think gold is the way to go. I mean, you take this. Here's one hand, you put a gold coin in it. Here's your other hand, you have a Bitcoin. Well, there's my gold. I can walk away with it. My Bitcoin, it's theoretically there, but if you can't access it, you can't access it. I can take my gold coins and walk in someplace and exchange those and sell them and use them as currency. It's a physical thing. Bitcoin, it's not physical. You still have that extra barrier. And I'm not saying it's not valuable where you shouldn't have it. I just think if you're looking for a true way of storing your wealth and you can afford to, and you're in a country that you can do it safely, then I would still go with gold. If you're in a country that you can't, if you're in China, North Korea, some other country where maybe where you have really janky banking laws or super high taxation rates, then yes, then maybe you decide that you're going to do all your stuff in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and the reason I'm leaning more toward Bitcoin now, I do believe in gold, but I've always believed in buying companies that mine gold, store the gold. I mean, Larry's old school. He loves to hold it. He's tangible. My tangible assets is real estate. That's where I come in when I need to touch something. But Bitcoin for me caught my eye when I saw government municipalities as institutional investors investing in Bitcoin. And I said, they're not just going to be throwing money into stuff like that for no reason. And I started reading why they was doing it, and it was absolutely because they was trying to hedge their bets against inflation. Let me shout out Infinite Science, hitting us with a $5 super chat, my brother.
Big ups.
Big ups. I really appreciate it. So that's my talk, and that's my talk on Bitcoin. I do think that it is moving more toward the future. And Zale Latrice brought up a good point. Are people money laundering with it? Yeah,
of course they are.
They are. But
at
the end of the day,
go ahead.
At the end of the day, Zale, people are money laundering American money too. I mean, and they do it through. Not saying I know somebody be trying to call the police on me. They do it through real estate. They do it through offshore accounts. They launder money in all kinds of arenas. The only thing is, with the blockchain, it's a way that I guess people can you can kind of eliminate some of the crazy folks dealing with cryptocurrency if you continue to make it more mainstream. You'll start getting a little bit more eyes on it, regardless of what you can do with it. But
here's the thing. I mean, it's obviously it's money laundering, but it's also just there's been a lot of people using it as, you know, for tax cheating. So for instance, let's say that Lamont wanted to sell me a house that he had, and the house was going to cost $500,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can simply say, okay, how about this? Why don't we put it on paper for $100,000 and I'll pay you the other 400 in Bitcoin. No one could track that Bitcoin transaction. It's it's completely private and anonymized. You can't track it. And I can sit up there and just pay him $100,000. It's going to look like and even then, not only is it going to be less in tax, he can say, well, you know, the house just wouldn't sell, so I had to sell it for a loss, for a $400,000 loss, and he can write it down. So now he doesn't have to pay taxes on all the profits that he got from the house, and he can write it down as a tax, you know, as a loss on his taxes, and you can't track it.
Right.
And that's a major problem.
The only fly in Larry's scenario is if you decide you need to convert that money back to a currency, you're going to have to slow spend that money. You're not going to be able to be popping up in the United States blowing more than $10,000 without drawing the eye of somebody. You're going to have to slow roll that money. But yeah, he does have a point that is something you can do. But I'm kind of like, you know, use it as a tool to your dispense. And when I start seeing governments taking people's 401ks and their investment money and hedging with crypto, that's usually when it's time to start getting involved in some of these things, my people. So just take that for what it is. And Carborough asked me this question, then we'll move on to a good stock that you guys should invest in that's going to be taking you through till Christmas. Carborough asked me, what is an NFT? Lord have mercy. Now, I'm really not ready to jump on this, not yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's this new investment vehicle called an NFT. And basically what it stands for is like it's a digital asset. So, for example, LeBron James, I guess the best way to explain it, think of a baseball card, traditional baseball card. They take a picture and they put it on a piece of paper. And they make so many of those. The less they make, the greater the player, the more the value goes up of the card. So, for example, with me, I have a Michael Jordan rookie card, and I have a Michael Jordan card when he wore jersey 12. When he specifically asked them not to take pictures of him in jersey 12, they took a picture of him on jersey 12 wearing in somebody else's card, and I've got one of those. So it has some value. NFT is another digital asset where someone might take a picture of a shot in a game. They might take a picture of somebody winning a race. And supposedly, you have the rights to that asset, meaning that the original picture that was taken that's in the web is yours, and people are starting to believe in that as an investment house. I ain't ready to get on that yet, my people. I need to see how that one works. Larry, what have you heard about those NFTs?
Yeah, I don't buy them. I mean, it's one of those things where it's sort of trying to give It's trying to give more value to a digital
Right.
to a digital product. It's trying to say, okay, this is a photo that may be reproduced, or a video. Like apparently there was a video of some kids out there that supposedly did something funny, and that thing sold for like a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of someone saying, okay, well, this is the original video, and now you own it. Well, okay, but if the video's already out there 500,000 times, there's millions of copies of it out there. I mean, yes, you may own the original of it. And it's sort of, to me, it seems like, and I where I'm a little confused is there any real difference between selling an NFT and selling the copyrights to your product? Because it's sort of like if someone says, okay, Larry, you created this song, or you created this video, I want to own it. And you say, okay, great, here you go. You sell it to them, and you own the copyright. You own the publishing rights. You own the masters, whatever you want to call it. And now when people are out there using your stuff without permission, you can say, look, you need to pay for this. I don't, the NFT thing, I'm not fully understanding why this is valuable. It just, I mean, it seems like it just doesn't seem like an investment vehicle that I want to get down with. It just seems like it's something it seems like another way that somebody thought of a clever way to extract money out of people's pockets, and people are going to end up holding the bag after they spend a lot of money, and they're going to realize they have basically nothing. They're going to have nothing.
Let's just keep this thing real. This sounds like another made-up construct of white American capitalism. And the way they've done it, they've got like some heavy hitters who are investors who have money they can blow, billions they can blow, to sign off on this stuff. And Zaya Latrice, she asked, NFTs include music publishing too? No. When I was looking at the interview they did on CNBC, it specifically said no, not on music. That's what it said. But I'm like, Larry, if I've got a picture of LeBron James, and y'all know I use screenshots on a lot of my videos. You mean to tell me that someone can say one of those screenshots I had is worth $1 million, but the one I'm using is worth $0? It don't make sense to me. It seems like the Wild Wild West. It seems like someone's just conjuring up something. Larry, I'm on the verge of saying this is a pyramid, or as Richard Pryor would say, a trapezoid, or maybe even a Ponzi. I'm on the verge, but let's see how it play out before we cast too much more judgment. Let's see how it plays out, and let's see how the marketplace shakes it down. Because I haven't seen enough regular investors doing anything with it. I've just seen rich people playing around with it. I haven't seen regular people who are trying to scratch and claw to the top use it yet.
Yeah, see, that's the thing for me. It seems like it's just about rights. It just seems like it's just a way to sell rights, because when they start off with NFT stuff, it seems to be that's very focused around in the arts market, where people are selling rights to digital art. So, you have some artist that created a digital drawing or painting or whatever, some other form of digital art, and they sell an NFT of it. Okay, so what does that mean then? Are you saying that this person has the right to now he owns this thing entirely, it's his, and if he decides he wants to make 1,000 posters and sell them, he can? So if someone has an NFT of a Banksy painting, he can now take this Banksy and reproduce it and sell it on t-shirts or something? Or you just, what is it? I don't get it. Just, to me, it sounds like, if I'm understanding from what it sounds to me, it just sounds like another way of selling someone's publishing rights or copyrights to someone else and calling it an NFT. If it's not that, then I don't fully understand it, and I don't get out with stuff that I don't understand. And I don't really like the idea of buying digital stuff like that anyways, because it's just ones and zeros that can be reproduced and copied. I get it. I'm okay with buying a movie that I can store on my cloud and for Google because it costs $19. I don't care about that, but I'm not going to go spend $800,000 to buy a digital copy of a drawing or a painting, and then what? It's just gone one day.
And think about this, Larry.
Crashes, it's gone.
Think about this, Larry. Hacking,
That too.
That's going to be an absolute nightmare with this stuff. Absolute nightmare. And if I had the Mona Lisa, if I don't have the original Mona Lisa, what the hell do I have?
Exactly. But if you have it, you have it. If you decide you want to pick up that Mona Lisa and walk over to the Norton Simon Museum and say, here, I'm going to loan it to you for the next 100 years, you can do that. I mean, what if the Norton Simon says, you know what, we're just going to put a digital reference. We're going to get a digital frame and we're going to put a Mona Lisa up there. I mean, what's the difference between that one and the NFT one?
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, for now, look, I'm going to say pump the brakes on the NFT. And we could be dead wrong 10 years from now.
We could be dead wrong tomorrow, but I don't understand it.
Here's the thing. Usually the trailblazers are the ones who get killed. And the people that come next wave after them are the ones who thrive. So just be patient, see how it shakes up. There's plenty of digital opportunities out there. Let's just see how that goes. In terms of our traditional assets, our stocks, our bonds, our real estate, we've got one right now that, ladies and gentlemen, me and Larry talked about this last year. We talked about it in tandem with MGM, Madison Square Garden, and Live Nation. Live Nation just opened up, and what I like that they're doing, if you don't have a vaccine card, your ass is not getting in. And they just had a sold-out concert with 18,000 vaccinated people. It was off the chain. I talked about that stock. Let's take a deep dive into the numbers, and then we'll tell you guys why this is definitely one you want to put in your portfolio for the next 6 months. And it's gonna star my boy downtown, Josh Brown.
Okay, cool. I went to the first concert back at Madison Square Garden Sunday night. Foo Fighters came out to a mask-free, completely vaccinated capacity crowd of more than 16,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs. 3 hours of singing, crying, chugging beers, hugging, high-fiving. It was totally out of control. People were so excited to be back at the shows, I thought the building was going to crumble. So until you experience that again, for the first time in 15 months, I can't explain to you why this stock is such a no-brainer to me. You're just not going to get it. So you have to go experience that for yourself. Wait till you see what Lala looks like, Coachella, Rolling Loud. I think they're doing 3 of them this summer. This is a historic moment for this category. Live Nation is the dominant name in this category. You have to believe that going to shows is a #1 priority for probably 2/3 of Americans and people in Europe, etc. So I think the stock's going to have a great second half. I'm invested in this one personally.
And you don't think that a lot of the story you just told is in the name, right? It's up 20-some-odd% year to date.
Not even close.
You just think that the street hasn't even come to the sort of emotional grips with what you witnessed yourself at the Garden.
Not even close. I'm predicting 6 months of New Year's Eve, 7 nights a week in this country between now and the end of this year. People are ready to just go bananas, and I'm part of it. So I want to make money from it too.
Dude is fired up.
I looked at their numbers, and they're absolutely right. Up 20%. Their earnings have been down because they've been closed. But prior to COVID, they was making money hand over fist. Now, what is it that drives the stock price high? Good earnings and profit. And right now is probably definitely the time to go ahead and solidify yourself in Live Nation of a bunch of reopening plays, and be considering your Christmas and holiday plays too. Your Walmarts, your Targets, Live Nation. I'm big into all those reopening plays because the earnings this coming year are going to be through the roof. Even to some degree, airlines. My favorite one of the airlines is Southwest. People have pent up demand. And when you start seeing these concerts and you start seeing the revenue that they bring, that's going to drive the stock up. I easily see Live Nation by Christmas time going from that $89 you just saw up to at least $135 or $40 by Christmas time. So if you don't listen to anything else I say tonight, get yourself some Live Nation, park it away, make a note, say Lamont Tyson and Larry talked about it in June, and then we'll hash this thing out in December when y'all send me and Larry a little bit of that Christmas money. My brother Larry, what you think about the Live Nation?
It's not even 89 anymore. It's at 91 and after hours trading. So
damn.
Damn.
So and so let me say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you can afford it, something like this is an excellent play to take a long call on that doesn't expire till January, if you can afford to do that. So let's just say you're someone who you want to get a piece of the action, but you want to spread your money around. Throw a long call on Live Nation. I believe in that one, and you should too.
Now, here's my only concern with that is Live Nation right now is at like $91, and it's high for the year is 94.63, right? And that's not only its high for the year, that's its 5-year high. And that worries me.
Why does that worry you?
Because you're always told buy low, buy low, sell high. And I'm thinking to myself, you're buying at its peak, not just its yearly peak, its 5-year peak. I mean, to me, I think that's just, it feels risky, but at the same time, there's a good chance that it's just going to keep going up and going up. There is pent up demand. Everything that I heard that gentleman say makes perfect sense. Except it still makes me nervous anytime I get ready to buy a stock and that stock is near its 52-week high. It makes me very, very nervous.
This is how you calm yourself on a situation like that. What was the demarcation line for Live Nation the last 3 months?
I don't know. It was.
I can tell you. I can tell you what it was. $85. That was the demarcation line, meaning that it would hit that line, maybe go up, but always come back down below it, get to 85, struggle, and now it's having a little bit of a breakout. So when I see that enough times, that's when I'll make a play on a stock that is closer to its 5-year or whatever high. When I've seen it's been flirting with the demarcation line long enough on the candlesticks, then I'll make a play on a stock like that. So definitely I would run with that one. And
what are the calls on this? The cost?
Let's take a look. I just pulled it up. Let's take a look. Let's see here. Live Nation. Let's see what these calls look like. And because it went up so much, a call right now probably is going to cost you a little more, but we'll see. Let's trade Live Nation. All right. And we want to buy a call. We don't want to buy in July. We want this thing to expire in January of next year. If you want to go up to $92, it's $1,000. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad for something like this. When let's just say it goes up $5. If you've got the money to pull it out of there, you're controlling 100 shares. You're going to make basically, a couple hundred on that. So this is definitely one that you can buy, but I believe in Live Nation to be something you can hold long term. And go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna repeat and show people the best income generating method in the stock market, which I call the wheel method, in which you start by selling a put. So if you're in Robinhood and you got enough money, you want to sell a put. And you always want to sell that put the closest week to expiration. So for Live Nation, they expire in July. So I wouldn't use this as a put selling stock, because you want to sell puts weekly. You want to be able to get your hands back on your money weekly. And so how a put works, whatever stock you're looking at, whatever strike price you pick, you have to have 87.5, which is what I'm highlighting, times of 100. So that would be $8,750. And what would happen from that is it would pay you $160 right now, which is why I wouldn't use Live Nation, because that's decent money for a week on $8,000. You're not going to get that in no interest account. You're not going to be able to put that in any orange bank and get that return in a month. when you can get 160 every week 4 times. But I still wouldn't use Live Nation just because you can't do it weekly. But just to go through the lingo, you would just simply click on this. And I always click in here. And the first thing I tell Larry and anybody else when you're going to do this method, check the implied volatility. If this is anywhere near 75 or higher, don't mess with it because there's too much volume going in and out of the stock. And that's going to price up the premium. Now, if you're selling the put like I'm about to do, you might like that because you're going to make some money. But if you're buying a call, this volatility is going to make you pay more on that premium. So you would just simply click on that. You would click continue, and it's showing you your profit margin. It's showing you what happens if you was to lose. And at the end of the day, if the strike price is 87.50 and your expiration date is July 16th, and this stock goes below 87.50, what they do is they're going to assign you 100 shares of Live Nation at 87.50. You already got the $160 payout. They give you that up front, but they would assign you those shares. And now that you're stuck with the shares at whatever the price was, all you then turn around and do is come up here and you sell the call, and then you pick a number higher than the 87.50 you got stuck with. So if you got stuck with 87.50, you would pick $90 because now you're in the green. You're going to make money on top of the stock, even though you got stuck with it. And you would sell the covered calls, and you would get paid $450 immediately just for putting the shares of the stock up for grabs. And you want them to grab these stocks because you want your original cash back. And so not only would you get your original cash back when the stock hits 90, but you would also get the difference between 90 minus 87.50 times 100. Plus you got the 160 for buying the put. Plus you just got the $415 for selling a covered call. Then you get the difference of $90 minus 87.50. And that's the wheel strategy of investing, in which you become the casino. You become the bank. That's how that works when you've got enough cash that you can make premium off selling puts and shares of stock.
Okay.
Still works. Still works. So Larry, give me a stock you're looking at before we get out of here. What's on your hot list?
This one is one that we've talked about plenty of times before. I've owned it, sold it, bought it again, owned it, sold it, and I think I might actually look at buying it again, or maybe buying a call or put or something on there, and that is Riot.
Oh, Big Larry.
As we know, Riot's fortunes are often tied to Bitcoin, and since Bitcoin is going down, so is Riot, which I'm thinking is a good opportunity to buy it right now. Now,
I was about to say, Larry, remember, Riot does way more than just Bitcoin. Riot is in the blockchain technology, period. So whenever people want to get a little exposure to cryptocurrency, but want a lot of exposure to the technology called blockchain, this is the first place I send them. And Larry, they actually went up. You know, they do tend to trend with crypto, but they also tend to go up a lot when crypto goes down, because they're not just in the crypto space, they're also in the blockchain space. And I like Riot. Me and Larry jumped out the window and made good money on this stock when it was $60.
Yeah.
It hit a peak of $60. And I think the demarcation line on this thing, let me see, it's about, right now it's 31.60. And let me see how it's been over the last week. Oh yeah, it's definitely going up above that. It's hit that line a couple of times. So I'm with that, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to have some exposure to crypto, but not fully involved, but you love the blockchain technology that not only powers crypto, powers medicine, powers cloud computing, it powers the cloud, Riot Blockchain is a great place to go. Definitely on some Riot. My favorite store beyond Amazon. Amazon's a very expensive stock, and I don't expect anyone to be sitting on $3,500 in one single. And yeah, I mean, now it's a good play. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not a good play, because when the stock moves, it doesn't just move in $10 increments. It moves in 50s and 60s a day. And I've got a couple of shares that I bought when it was $3,000, And I just be sitting back smiling when I see days the thing go up $50, $60. But my other favorite play for the next 6 months in retail is this bad boy right here. And I'm talking about Tarjay. Good gracious sake. I love me some Tarjay. And I've got 15 shares. My average cost is $150, and I'm up $1,287. And that is just, ladies and gentlemen, since January. And check out what else Target does. Target pays a 1.16 dividend, and their price to earnings is 19.08. Price to earnings is the way you evaluate whether you're paying too much for a stock, whether the stock is evaluated properly, or the stock is undervalued. You always want to see your price to earnings on a stock, unless it's something you just absolutely believe in. You want to see that price to earnings as close to zero as possible. So I would say a range of anything from 50 and below is a good price to earning, means that the stock is fairly valued, and anything probably under 25 saying that the stock is undervalued. So Target is my favorite reopening play. They are sitting at $237. If you can afford it, get yourself like 2 or 3 shares, sit back and count your money and count your dividends, because they pay good dividends. So,
oh man.
And you know, for anyone that's been keeping up with Netflix and Roku, they've been going up too. Netflix just did a deal with Steven Spielberg, and Larry, I don't know what to say about Netflix, man. They keep investing. They keep on investing money. They haven't started paying back the shareholders, and I think the shareholders don't care, just simply because the stock is doing so well. We got a super chat, my brother. Let me read this.
All right.
Brandon Payne, thank you, my brother. We appreciate that $4.99, and we appreciate you just honestly coming through, listening to us chop it up about financial investing, financial empowerment, doing better for yourself. He says, tell me why all the crypto graphs look the same. That would mean you would have to be buying and selling every crypto the same. Explain. I've not seen every crypto graph look the same. I've seen days where a lot of things tend to trail Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is up, most cryptocurrencies tend to go up. But I've also saw where Bitcoin Cash was going through the roof while Bitcoin was going down. And so I would tell you maybe try some other graphs. Maybe try Market Beat. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up right now so I can show you what it looked like. Maybe try Market Beat. Maybe try Seeking Alpha and see if those graphs do you any justice, because I've seen it where they don't all seem to be trending in the same direction all at once. For example, like right now, Dogecoin has gone up a little bit. And when Bitcoin was going up, Dogecoin was going down. So I would say take a look at that, my brother, and see where it's going from there. But in totality, they all are not always going in the same direction. Some of them remain stagnant at times. So, and get back with me the next time we do one of these so we can kind of engage it a little bit. But other than that, Larry, man, that's about all I got for you, man. My strategy coming up for the next 6 months is really just going to be, I'm still going to be selling puts, and I'm still going to be investing in reopening stocks, and I'm going to do a lot more investing in preparing for the holidays. I'm ready to jump on that bandwagon right now, because those is going to be some fat earnings in February when you start seeing those earnings from the December retail movement.
Right. Yeah, I've been just sort of retooling my account and trying to get rid of some stinkers and taking profits on some stuff that I had. I mean, I went through and looked at some of my stuff, and when I know that we always say when you get like 25% profit, you should start taking profits. And I looked at some of my stuff, and it was like 600%, 500%. I was like, I should probably take some profits before it goes down.
Yeah, and
this
600% profit. Come on, man.
I do good on some of that stuff, but sometimes I slip. Like I didn't take profits on my key when I should have. I told myself I was going to wait till July to take profits on key because I have a call on them until September, and at one point it was up to like 450 or something like that.
Yeah,
and then it dropped down, and now it's at like 2 something, and it's like I think I'm like maybe breaking even or a little bit in the red on that one. So. But I have, my call doesn't expire until September 17th. So I'm still holding on and hoping that maybe sometime in, late July or early August, it'll pick up again. And then I'm going to get out of it.
So for those that don't know my rules, because I don't give a damn who you are, the stock market can humble you. I don't care if you're a Warren Buffett, they'll all tell you, sometimes you lose money, but the overall goal is to make more than what you lose. And then you also learn how to leverage your risk. For me, leveraging risk is the majority of what I do in terms of options is selling puts. That leverages my risk because I then have 3 escape routes. I can turn the thing into a covered call, and then I can just sell out the stock. When you buy a call, your only escape route is you're capped at how much you lose on that money. You can always get out early if you want to, but you're still going to have a little bit of a loss. And my rules to people when you are buying and selling calls, 20% up or down is your time to jump out the ship. So if it moves up 20%, consider getting out or sit by the computer all day long watching it either go up and not letting it go below 20%. And if it drops below 20% on what you put into the call, just get out and cut your losses. It's better to do that than to wake up the next day and that 20% has turned into 90% and you sitting here crying. Oh, man, my man, Brandon Payne sent us another one. Let's see what we got. I appreciate the $9.99, my man. Very great.
Yeah, see, on my key call, I was up at one point where my equity was up to like, I don't know. It was like right now it's at 213. It was up to like 4 something. And I was, I was up at a profit. It wasn't much profit, but I was up at like $250 profit or something. Right now, my total return is like $13. So I'm up at like up to 6.5%. So I'm still not losing money on it, and I still have a little time left on this call, so I can wait and see what it's going to do over the next month and a half before I decide I want to get out.
Okay, and the thing about this call is, I put Larry on to this one, and I told Larry when I was jumping out the ship. I told Larry when I was jumping out the ship, I jumped out the ship at 400. Larry at least waited for it to get to. You said it got to 450.
Yeah, I should have jumped out then, but I didn't.
I jumped out. I told Larry I'm jumping out.
I almost did, but I got caught up with other stuff because sometimes when I start doing stuff, I get focused on doing that thing. And for a while there, I was really focused on doing my stock stuff and getting my portfolio intact. And I let my YouTube stuff slip to the side. So I was like, I need to get my YouTube stuff back on track, which I did. And then I stopped looking at my portfolio every day, and some stuff just got past me. I need to I'm trying to get stuff set up so I have a little bit of balance where I can sort of do both. And
right. Because that makes it makes a difference, Larry. Because when you really put your head into these stocks, that can take over a whole day. I'm right now, for those of you new getting into stocks, you might not understand what we mean. But when you're trying to evaluate so many companies and you're trying to see who's got a little bit of a loss that I can take advantage of and make a gain, when you're trying to see all the pertinent news, that can consume a day. So what I tell people to do in the very beginning, and even when you become advanced, get to know a handful of companies, like maybe 5 companies, understand their earnings, understand their revenues, understand their books, understand their price to earnings, understand their products. Know that stock in and out. Like my wife teases me because I have a couple of pet stocks. I know everything about the company from Tesla, Disney, Target, Amazon, SPHD. Those are my pet stocks. My wife will tell you, that boy can tell you everything you need to know. When I first got started, that's all I focused on. And Brandon, I just read your chat. Look at Doge, etc. Seems like the same graphs, makes no sense to me. Well, that's what I got on my screen right now, so we can take a look at it. So Larry, I pulled up the cryptos in Robinhood, and he's saying the graphs all look the same. So right here, as you can see, today Bitcoin went up 2.39%, whereas Ethereum went down 9.
Ethereum Classic,
Ethereum Classic went down 9. Ethereum went down 0.4. Bitcoin SV went down 0.1. Bitcoin Cash went down 0.14. Dogecoin went down 5%. So, Brandon, that's exactly what I'm saying. Sometimes they're going sideways. So let me click into it. So I guess what he's saying is, to him, these graphs always look like this. But if you just move the little ticker, you see the movements hour by hour. And B, I hope that helps, but that's what I'm telling you. It might look like that, but they're not. So let me click in another one, Larry. So that kind of looks like a Mako shark's teeth. And let me click in another. Let's go up here to Litecoin. This was the very first coin that I owned. Uh-oh. Let's get back in there. Oh, Lord, here we go. I was about to say.
You know?
I want to click on I want to see Litecoin, damn it. Here we go. So as you see in the last one, this was a double jagged edge. Do you understand what I'm saying, Larry? It did have a dip here, but you also had like a sawtooth here too. So B, just keep checking the graphs, my brother. They're not the same. Definitely not the same.
Yeah.
And so that's about it for us, my people. We just want to come in here and get you guys motivated, give you a little bit of inspiration. And another reason why we want to do these videos, and we will get these videos started back up once we're done with Run the World. If you're an entrepreneur or you have the entrepreneurial spirit, you feel it in your gut. Maybe you don't have an idea for something you can start on your own. Maybe you've got some cash saved up. Maybe you know you want to be in American capitalism and you have the spirit, but you just don't have an idea of your own. Learn the stock market. You can run this just like a business. That's what I'm doing. Learn how to sell calls and puts. Learn how to do covered calls. Learn the data of these companies. And while you're doing that, all the things that make you an entrepreneur are going to be stroked. Because as you learn the stock market more and more, you're going to be reading balance sheets. You're going to learn how to read debts to asset ratios. You're going to be learning how to do certain maths so that you're maximizing your profits and lowering your risk. So if you are an entrepreneur, but you don't know what your business idea is, don't sweat it. Learn the stock market and learn how to invest your money safely.
And if you do that, before you do, sit down and decide what your risk levels are and stick to it.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
If you decide that you're willing to risk, $10,000 this month, and then you also are willing to say, okay, if I'll buy this stock and I'm willing to take a 5% loss on it to get in and see how it does, stick to it. Don't get in and then take a 10 or 15% loss and then kick yourself later. Just if you get in and you make money, great. If you don't, it drops 5%, get out. And just say that was my risk level, I'm out, and then move on to something else, know?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you don't set any limits up front, you're kind of in there just floundering without a real strategy, and then next thing you know, you look up and you lost, thousands of dollars, and then you're upset trying to figure out how to get it back. And sometimes you can. Oftentimes you can get your money back. You can get on a good stock that just happens to take off, or maybe you you really did your homework and picked a good winner, maybe you got lucky, whatever. But oftentimes it just, luck doesn't work that way. People who are good stock pickers do their homework. And, I will admit, I have been one of those people that have been probably more lucky than I should have been, because I've picked some stocks that I've just been like, I like this company, I like the name, I like what I read in their basics, in their summary, and then I pick it, and then boom, it shoots up, or I get a feeling about something. Like right now, I got into Hertz. Lamont was saying, Hertz is bankrupt. What are you doing? Don't get into Hertz. I bought 300 shares of Hertz at 90 cents. It's at like $8 right now. So I mean, sometimes you get a gut feeling about something and you run with it. but you have to be willing to lose that money. For me, when I bought 300 shares at 90 cents, I mean, I'm looking at, $200 and some dollars. I mean, I don't want to lose $200, but if I lost $200, I wasn't going to cry about it. I'd be like, well, I gave it a shot, man,
And see, I'm totally the opposite of that. No for me. No, if that's not how I want to blow my money on a stock, on an investment. But ladies and gentlemen, he's absolutely right. You have to set your risk tolerance limit, and also continue to curb your mindset to thinking, you know what, there is a vehicle out there that will let my money make money for me, and that's the stock market. You guys will get like me. Me and my wife be out, and if I can see where I can save $20, I'm thinking to myself, honey, that's another share of XYZ stock. And she'll just sit there and laugh her ass off at me. But you know what? I'm in this thing knee deep. It's an income for me, and I want it to be one of those for you guys as well. So Larry, that's going to do it for us, my brother. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe to Larry's channel for all the best in tech news. Come back and check us out tomorrow. We'll be reviewing Loki, episode 3, season 1, with all the brothers will be up here with us. One Take, B. Avery, hopefully Elliot from Movie Files, and of course, the living legend himself. And until that next Sex is Hell video, we'll see you.